Let's go over a quick shoulder warm-up or tune-up for all of you overhead athletes. And I like my crossover symmetry bands, but if I didn't have access to these bands, what would I do? And you don't always need to bring these around with you. You can get away with doing a routine with a simple Theraband. You can get one, you can get a roll, you can cut it up, share with your teammates. And let's go over 5 basic exercises just to get all of those scap stabilizers, your rotator cuff firing, and these movements will help you to turn them on so that you can prep for your activity or just use this as a tune-up. So we are going to anchor this, whether it's with a carabiner on a fence, or you can tie it onto a post or a pole. You're going to anchor it shoulder height or higher. We're going to start with a high attachment point. I'm going to set up, if I'm doing my right hand, I'm going to have the anchor point outside of my left shoulder. So I'm going to be pulling across my body a little bit. Again, I'm trying to replicate a similar angle to the crossover symmetry bands, and I am just going to do a reverse fly. All the same things apply with these shoulder exercises. Good stable base, set your feet well, stabilize your core so we're not moving through our spine. And we are going to do this reverse fly motion. Emphasize squeezing your shoulder blade back towards your spine and using the back of your shoulder. Common things, try not to shrug your shoulder up, keep that head in line with your body, and you are going to try to emphasize using the back of your shoulder. Don't get too much wrist and forearm involved. And you're gonna do nice and controlled reps, making sure that I'm keeping my body nice and tall and stable. And you are going to do one side, then you can switch and do the other side. When I do the other side, again, the anchor point is outside of my opposite shoulder, and I am going to do reverse flies. Nice squeeze at the back and back down. And make sure you control it both ways. Control it when you're going back to the anchor point, when you're releasing. Don't just let the band fly you back. So that's the first one, reverse fly. Second one, we're going to do a WY negative, and this is actually a crossover symmetry exercise. I'm going to again line up where the anchor point is outside my opposite shoulder. I'm going to pull into a W, I'm gonna punch up into a Y, and I'm gonna control it back down. Notice I'm coming back in front of my face. W, Y, slow, controlled back down. W, Y, slowly control it back down. Make sure that I pull into external rotation, punch up, let my shoulder blade go up with my arm, and I am going to control that negative down. After I do one side, then you can do the other side. And same thing, line up first, stable core, W, punch up, control back down in front of my face. W, punch up, control back down. And you are going to do the same amount of reps on each side. Again, remember, try not to get too much wrist involved. You want to emphasize the back of your shoulder. So those are the first 2. The next 3, we are going to drop this anchor point down to about our knee height. You want it at this low anchor point region. So I'm gonna put it down here, make sure it's nice and secured. And I am going to do the shoulder 90-90. So again, grab onto the band. I'm going to line up where the anchor is outside of my opposite shoulder. I'm going to pull into this kind of high roll position, and then I'm gonna rotate up, rotate back down, and go down to center. Pull, up, down, center. Really emphasize keeping the shoulder blades stable, not using too much wrist again, and I'm going to try to rotate, externally rotate, control it back down, and back down to the anchor point. So here, up, down, down. And nice and controlled, keep that core nice and stable. When I do the rotation, try not to get too much upper arm movement. You want to keep everything stable and just create this rotation motion. Then after that, get to the other side. You are going to line up again with the anchor point on the outside of your opposite shoulder. Nice and stable core. Pull up, rotate, down, down. Up, rotate, down, down. The last thing is you don't have to get your elbow behind your body. Try to keep it right to the side, meaning you're not back here. You're slightly in front or to the side so that you can rotate. And you are going to do this controlled motion. Again, get that scap stabilizers turned on and turn on that rotator cuff. Then the next one we're gonna do is we are going to, again, get the anchor point outside of our opposite shoulder. I am actually gonna face away this time. So line up. It's outside of my right shoulder. I'm facing away, nice tall posture. I'm gonna do scaption, where I'm gonna lift my thumb up and I'm going in this oblique fashion about 30 to 45 degrees from my shoulder line. So I'm gonna go up and out, kind of punch my hand forward and out to like imaginary corners of a room. And I'm gonna do this in a nice controlled fashion. Feel the shoulder blade reaching and protracting a little bit, so you're reaching out to that corner, and you're gonna do this in a nice controlled fashion. After that, switch sides. Again, get lined up where you are on the opposite side of the anchor point. I'm holding on to the band, nice and stable core. I'm gonna lift up and back down. Lift up and back down. At the bottom, make sure my chest stays nice and tall. Try not to round my shoulders or anything, and reach out and up and back down. Out and up and back down. Out and up and control it back down. So that is your scaption. That's the fourth exercise. And the last one, we're going to do this D2 pattern. It's going to combine this flexion, abduction, and external rotation. It's like you're drawing a sword. So imagine that you had a stick here. You're starting with your thumb inwards and across your body and in this extension pattern. Then you're gonna slowly come up in front of your shoulder, and you're slowly gonna rotate that. So your imaginary sword is going to be pointing back. And what it's going to look like is like this. So I'm gonna start here. You might have to go a little closer to the anchor point for this one just to get the right muscles working. And you're gonna go nice and slow, and you're gonna reach up and you're gonna come back down. The rotation should be happening nice and smoothly throughout the whole range of motion, and guide it back down. Again, keep your core tight, don't flare the ribs up, and you are going to control this pattern. This is the only one that we're actually lining up where the anchor point is coming from our side. So we are going across our body and controlling it back down. This might take a little while to get used to, but really start to feel your shoulder, your rotator cuff, everything starting to turn on. Control it that way. Then you're gonna flip around, do exactly the same thing on the other side, right? Good stable base. Across your body right here, you're gonna draw that sword into flexion, abduction, and coming back down. Rotate the thumb up and rotate the thumb back in. Rotate the thumb up and rotate the thumb back in. So this is going to be your D2 pattern. So again, quick recap, you have your reverse fly. Then after that, you have your WY negative. Then we're gonna put it down to about knee height. You're going to have your shoulder 90-90. So this is high pull, rotate into external rotation, down and down. Then you're gonna have your scaption. This is the one that you're lining up facing away from it, and you're lifting your shoulder up and out about 30 to 45 degrees from the plane of your shoulders. And then the last one is going to be your D2 pattern. And this really gets all of these different movements. It's really gonna turn on these muscles to help prep you for activity, or just be an in-season or year-round tune-up for your shoulder. So practice this. I wanna emphasize again, the more that you get better at controlling these muscles, turning on these muscles, and getting more precise with the movement, that is what's going to keep your shoulders healthy and really bulletproof your shoulders. Practice these exercises and keep those shoulders healthy.